Right. That's not supposed to be there. That's not supposed to be like that. Yeah. And obviously the bottom of that sill, but I knew about that. To be honest, I knew about that about 15 years ago. Because I quickly put a plate on for a caution and then left it. I can see the pub through here. Right, that circular hole on the left-hand side. Oh no, the saying goes, I can see the pub from here. Anyway, that hole on the left-hand side there, that circular one, which is obviously not a rot hole, is actually for the cold air feed for the heater. Not stock cold air feed for the heater, just cold air feed for the heater. I need to undo that nut, and then I can push that wiring right the way over, because I'm not taking that much of it out. I'm only going to take the rotten bit out. What I'm going to do is a cut down, probably to the right hand side of that little nut. So I've got a nice clean area to go down. The bottom section is all right. It's actually whether I start doing the sill, because you guarantee that end piece down there, which got a little bit flaky, is going to be rotten. I've got a screwdriver here. Shall we give it a poke? Let's give it a poke, eh? Oh no, that's just rust from when I've took that hole there. So we might just be able to take... I'm trying to keep as much of the panel as possible. I suppose they're going to have to be redone taken off anyway, so then I can move the wiring over just in case do slit it. I don't really want to be slitting through that. All of that is MX5 wiring. To be honest, there's too much there anyway. As you can see, things have been snipped. Over the years, I've ran more than one ECU in this, and they require different wiring configurations. Anyway, I digress. Well, obviously, this corner's shagged. And I've got the repair panel which takes it around to there. It's this area which isn't great anyway. It looks like it's been welded before. Now I haven't done that because this is all original. But yeah, I think possibly doing it down that line might be, and then going around. We'll have to get the other panel out to see. But ideally what I need to know is whether any of this is rotten. I know it's not because there's a flaw here. You can see the welds, I never ground them down. So well, obviously I know this bit isn't rotten apart from, is that a hole? Is that a hole? No, it's not, it's a bit of dirt. I know the floor's alright, as you can see. Note wrong with that, that's just all a bit of what's come out of this hole. So, yeah, I think we'll take that off and then we'll have to slice it, I think. Yes. We might have to do this bit before we can tackle the rest of it. Then again, because we're not... He's tying in, and this will still have some sort of structural rigidity. So I think what we'll have to do is put the new piece on and then stop cutting the rest, I think. I don't know. Right, so the ECU is out of the way. Took it completely out. I've took out the, not that you'll be able to see, all the wiring. So I think probably the best thing to do is get a knot wheel to this, raise the car up, get a knot wheel to it, and see how bad that rust is. Because if it's not that bad, I'll only take the part off that panel that is. The issue we've got is I can't do the castle rail without having this piece in. And it's not an issue, it just means this piece has got to be done, because the castle rail it bends up and welds to the back of that panel now. If I could get the panel, so this whole panel generally goes all the way through your chassis leg and on the other side. Now the castle rail goes up here, or the end lip of it, so obviously I only think I need that. Don't even think I need the floor piece, because I can add the floor piece in afterwards. So I think if I get the knot wheel to it and if I simulate on here, up to this point is okay, or past this point, then we'll just take that, because I need that, because that's the splash panel bolt holes. And I've got the other repair panel for the splash panel section. I'm going to have to make that for myself though. So we'll get the car in the air and let's get knot wheeling. so I thought we'd use a bit of voiceover here. What I'm doing is basically bracing the frame of the car. It's just something I've always been trained to do, only because we're going to be cutting out the outer sill and obviously the inner sill, so there's not going to be much structure, even though the inner sort of C-section box frame is going to still be there. As you can see, the actual piece of bracing bar, it's just a 1 inch by 1 inch 2 welded to each part of the opening. Making an incision cut here now, just to basically, so I can get in and cut the outer sill off, preferably in one piece. As you'll see later on, it didn't really come out in one piece. So I've got an entry panel, and it looks like, I think, I don't know, was that a repair panel? Or did I put a full, no, it's had a full wing on it, but as you can see the back of it's a bit shitty. I don't know what the heck that is. Oh. Okay, so you can see the top of the sill's been going. To be honest, that bit's probably been going for years anyway. Well, it would have been going for years. Like I say, she had a new sill on that side, 1999, something like that. So I don't remember doing that bit though, but I must have done. Yeah, a younger me, obviously in a quicker. And then 2004, yeah, the water was getting in, so it only lasted like 5 years of daily use. And I noticed when I put new wings on her, then it was going on the inner sill. We noticed that the outer one, and then had a hole, and then the inner one. So I must have put a plate on that. So yeah, we're doing it properly this time, so it can last another 20 years. So let's start cutting more. Okay, well, that focuses in. So I've started cutting that back section, as you can see, and slowly start slicing the inner panel off. Obviously it's a bit awkward to get in with just an angle grinder, so I need to get the chop saw, the proper cutter. Yeah, but obviously the front we know is gone. The actual inner sill's not that bad, and the castle rail is actually alright, but we're changing them anyway, just because I've got them, so they might as well be cut out. But that's not bad. It's far better than I thought. The back corner of obviously the wheel tub, it's had plates after plates put in there. Now I know a couple of them I've put in, but at least now I can sort it properly and cut that fully out. Anyway, nice clean piece going in. I am going to see whether they do a replacement panel for that. If not, I'll have to make it. So I'm going to try and cut it out in one complete piece, and I can at least try and form it myself. Right, let's carry on. Okay, so it's end of play on, would this be the second day? I can't remember. I don't know how these videos. Okay, so it's end of play. It's a bit foggy in here. Let's just turn that light off because it's making it so it can't focus. Right, so most of the footwell's out. Okay, so it's end of play and the inner sill is out. The outer sill is obviously out. Most of the footwell is gone. That's the old footwell. Yeah, past it. Really past it, to be honest, but it did a job. It did a job, but I'm not happy about it, so being that rusty. So at least I've got it in a reasonable cutout that I can just measure it up together against that one, or mark it up against that one, and just cut it on it. Obviously, the reason why it's cut out is so I could cut around the end of the castle rail, and I've been just measuring up with this one. Yeah, so stay tuned. Well, so we'll just start cutting again tomorrow. Looking through the footage, it seems that my camera played up while I was
welding in that kickboard, so that's the reason why you can see it already stitched in now. My apologies there. As you can see, I'm welding up the kick for the end of the castle rail, which ties basically the castle rail into the footwell area. To the left of that welding clamp was also a hole about the size of my fist in the floor. It didn't let water in or anything, it was just a bit of surface rust, and it had a pinhole, and by the time I'd cleaned it all back, that hole obviously got bigger. So I've also repaired the floor. It's got a double skin now on the floor, just so it's a bit safer and a bit stronger, because it's literally where your heels are going to go. Apart from that, yeah, obviously you can see it's all stitched in. So now the castle row stitched in from the inside and mostly from the bottom. The inner sill can now be stitched on or puddle welded in. So as you can see, I've cleaned back all of the primer, which isn't weld through for some reason. It used to be, but I presume they've stopped using weld through primer. There isn't really an art to this, as long as you've made sure that the castle rail is in the right place. This should match up to where you've cut out anyway, so there's no magic art to it at all. Obviously it doesn't need to be said really, but just take your time and this should all be installed easily.
This thing's stitched on then.
As you can see now, I've started on the outer. Again, take your time, this should all fit as normal. The only thing to make sure you've got correct is that little drop on the outer sill where it goes behind the outer wing. Otherwise you'll be left with quite a big gap. And it's pretty easy to do. Now as you can see, my coal's pretty rotten just here. That area above the welding torch is basically a big hole. Most of the time when you do these sills, that won't be there unless it's rotted out. The castle rail is just to the right, you can just see the fresh welds. Obviously all of this then needs a skin over the top, as it would have had from factory. But what I'm doing at the moment is I'm welding in the end plate for the sill.
Shiba on.
Now I'll admit, when I did this job last time on the other side, I didn't enjoy this part. Basically welding underneath. Obviously now the lift's installed, it does make it easier, but yeah, I did get a few burns on me. I'm basically seam welding the castle rail completely the full length, just to make it as strong as possible. Obviously the car does get used in Angus, so the more strength in the shell, the better.
Okay, so most of the seam sealing, or all the seam sealing for the front is done. I prefer to use tape these days, make the lines a bit better, but how much seam sealing needs to be done, and because of how much welding's been done, it just didn't make sense, so kind of lapped it all on. But that'll be all painted black anyway, same as this area where it's all been painted black. And I've already painted this area black to keep it basically safe, really, from rusting out, because nothing is going to be welded to that anymore. The wing bolts to the bottom, it'll be the same for that area once I've finished putting the repair panels on, or making the repair panels. So yeah, that can dry and I'll get it painted, but need to get onto the back now to fill that in, and before welding it on I will paint it, and then that's pretty much all the welding done, and we can move on to the next jobs.
It was at this point I realised that the camera was playing up, so generally recordings for the welding of the back area failed, but I have done them previously. If you look at my 2019 video of doing the castle rails, you can see that I've already done them before and done an explanation on how you weld them up, so go and check that video if not. Anyway, that's the end of the video, and I shall see you in the next one. Take care.